I used to care. Of course I did. Everyone cares at first. You build something, you put it out there, and you want the world to clap. You want the approval to confirm you're not crazy. You want the nod from the smart people, the laugh from the crowd, the little dopamine hit from strangers saying, "Wow, you're amazing." And then reality shows up. Reality doesn't care if you're likable. Reality cares if your idea works. At some point I realized something brutal. Public opinion is mostly a lagging indicator. It shows up after the fact, once the risk is gone, once the outcome is obvious, once the bravery is no longer bravery because it's already history. People love winners retroactively, they adore the finished statue. They throw stones while you're carving it. If you're doing anything that matters, you're going to disappoint people. You're going to irritate them, you're going to scare them. Because innovation isn't soothing, it's disruptive. It breaks routines. It challenges identities. It makes people feel stupid or left behind or irrelevant. And when humans feel threatened, they don't say, "Interesting." They say, "Who does this person think they are?" So yes, I stopped caring about being liked. Not because I'm above anyone, not because I'm some emotionless machine. I stopped because I realized being liked is often a trap, a leash made of compliments. Here's the dirty secret nobody wants to admit. Most approval is conditional. People like you as long as you stay within the version of you they can control. Stay humble but not too ambitious. Be bold but not too weird. Dream big but not so big that it makes them question their own choices. The moment you step outside the approved script, the applause turns into a tribunal. And I learned to welcome it, because hate is information. When you're doing shallow, safe, consensus stuff, you get polite silence, maybe a few likes, maybe a friendly pat on the head. But when you do something that actually moves the needle, something that forces the world to adjust, you don't get quiet. You get noise. You get outrage. You get people twisting your words, assigning motives, building a villain costume and trying to shove you into it. You get strangers acting like your existence is a personal insult. You get experts who suddenly become deeply concerned about the ethics of your ambition while they do nothing ambitious themselves. At first it's shocking, then it becomes funny, then it becomes clarifying. Because hatred makes one thing obvious, you're no longer playing a small game. I remember the moment it clicked for me. I was trying to please everyone. Investors, fans, critics, employees, media, people who didn't even use the product. And I started making decisions that weren't about reality anymore. They were about optics. About being safe. About avoiding a headline. That's when I noticed the rot. Trying to please everyone meant I was building a version of the future designed by a committee of people who were afraid of the future. And that is the death of innovation. Look, if you need constant approval, you will avoid the necessary fights. You will avoid the uncomfortable truths. You will compromise before you even test the idea. You will dilute your vision until it's polite, marketable, and meaningless. And you'll call it being reasonable. No, it's being domesticated. Approval seeking turns geniuses into performers. It turns leaders into crowd pleasers. It turns builders into politicians, always scanning the room, always shaping themselves into whatever gets the fewest boos. But progress doesn't come from the fewest boos. Progress comes from someone being willing to say, "I don't care if this makes you uncomfortable. The truth doesn't exist to comfort you." And yes, sometimes that sounds offensive, because people confuse discomfort with harm. They treat disagreement like violence and criticism like cruelty. They want innovation without friction, like wanting weight loss without hunger or strength without resistance. That's not how reality works. I became stronger when I accepted that being hated wasn't a sign I was wrong. It was often a sign I was early. It meant I was pushing hard enough to meet resistance. It meant I was no longer governed by the emotional thermostat of strangers. Once you stop chasing approval, something changes inside you. You get quieter, clearer. You stop performing your life and start building it. You stop asking, "Will they like this?" and start asking, "Will this work? Will this matter? Will this move humanity forward?" And you know what? The funny part is, when you stop begging to be liked, you become more useful. And usefulness earns a kind of respect that popularity can't touch. Popularity is loud. Respect is heavy. Popularity comes from people who want entertainment. Respect comes from people who understand cost. The cost of doing hard things, the cost of being wrong in public, the cost of being lonely in your convictions, the cost of getting back up when everyone wants you to stay down. So if you're out here trying to make everyone happy, let me save you years of wasted effort. You can't. And even if you could, it would be pathetic. Because the price of universal love is universal mediocrity. The people who change the world aren't universally adored while they're changing it. They're doubted, mocked, feared, and misrepresented. Then, later, the same crowd claims they always believed. Sure. So I'll end with a question I want you to answer honestly. Not like a good person, not like a polite person, but like a real person. So tell me, would you rather be loved by everyone or respected by the people who matter? Because you can't have both.